Hi guys, Patty from Patty's Crafty Spot, and I'm so excited to get to share this new folio I designed with you. And this is paper that I used from Carta, and it is called Santa's Workshop. And this paper is very retro, old school. It reminds me of Rudolph. Then the images on this are just adorable. And as you can see, I did actually use my paper punch and punched out a couple of things on the cover sheet. So let's take a quick walk through this. So this is what it looks like. And let me get you some measurements. So this is going to measure approximately 7.5 by just over 9, and the height is just about 2 inches. All right, so right off the top, you'll notice I have this super cute little pocket on the front. And what happened here was I actually had this piece left over from my scraps, and I thought it was just too cute to pass up, so I said, well, that will make a really cute pocket. So I went ahead and did this. This is not in the tutorial, but if you should, you would be cutting a piece at 7 inches by 3.5, scoring on both sides of that, and then of course making your pocket and sticking it down. So that was just a little added extra to that. And then these super cute images I used to go ahead and just make some photo mats. I don't have anything on the back side, but I did want to go ahead and permanently attach these images to the front. And then what I did was I just did a simple little ribbon closure. And the way you do that is before you put your cover paper on, you just go ahead and lay some ribbon down and glue it down to the cardstock, and then just cover it over with your pattern paper. So I just did a simple closure. This book doesn't even need a closure, but I thought it would look cute. So then as you open up to the first page, there is a little pocket that has expandable. So you can see it expands, so there's lots of room for photos, and it does have a magnetic closure, and just 2 little photo mats, and a full acetate window right here. Underneath my little Santas are my magnets that I hid. Just goes down like that. You come over to this page here, and it's just a very simple little stack pocket. Nothing too elaborate on this page to keep it nice and flat for when this piece here comes over, and just some simple photo mats again right there. And then we open up to the inside. Let me just zoom out a moment. Oops, sorry, hold on one second. All right, so now you can see the full layout of this right here. Really cute. So you have your envelope here, some nice waterfalls, and then this very fancy little page right here. So let's take a peek at the waterfall. So a simple little closure with the string. And then I have my little waterfall photo mats right here. And they just open up, and these are for landscape photos, just like that. And then I thought, well, why can't I have some portrait photos? So then I went ahead and did an alternate waterfall for portraits, and they just open up like this. And one thing in the tutorial, I did make a comment about the spacing on here with the chipboard underneath. I would suggest going ahead and do add a piece of cardstock underneath here with the chipboard. I got lucky and it just barely covered here, but you will see in my tutorial what I'm talking about. So I would just lay down some black cardstock first before you start adding all of these pieces here. So then in the center, I added this really, really cute little stacked pockets on the inside of all this. I thought that would be a cute little thing. And then the paper is just so cute, so I had to go ahead and add in those cute little images there. And then it just closes all back up. And then the nice images here on the paper. And then it closes down, so you get the full image of Santa and the reindeer, and you get the little Rudolph up there. and I thought that was really cute. This paper made this album super fun to make. And then we come over to this side here. Now, if you happen to notice in my Halloween album that I had recently made, I did use an idea from one of the scrap groups I belong to about having this little acetate window. It was loose, it was just kind of loose in the other album, so that way like these images here where you have like the buttons and stuff don't get hung up on your pockets and stuff. And I thought, why not attach that? That way you don't have to worry about it. So I actually made this little acetate window pocket right here as protection for right here, so none of this stuff will get caught on these pockets. And I thought that was super cute, so I'm definitely going to be doing that in the future. And one thing with my matting on this, now if you wanted to mat this fully, you'd take a lot of paper. I don't know if you noticed, but I mean, when you're cutting out this, you're cutting out the full wide of this, and then you're cutting out the center pocket. So what I did was I just did little strips of paper, and I left little spaces, but I kind of made it more of a decorative element around it. And you use a lot less paper, and it really, I don't know, I kind of like the look of this. And you have plenty of paper left over, so you're not wasting such a big piece of paper for just really a small area you're covering. So I thought that was super cute. So I did that on both sides, you can see. So this page right here is really cute. I love, you can see all the layering on here. And let me show you how this works. So on the front, there's a little pocket. And again, these images made doing this really fun. So I really like how that came out. So a little pocket on that. So this flips up. Go out one more. And right here is an acetate window pocket. And I put some little photo mats in here, just like that. So instead of having the little small little envelope flap, I actually did this full pocket, and that will contain all of your photos inside this cute little window pocket here. And then it closes down like this, and then it flips open. A nice photo mat area spaces, and again, I just wanted to incorporate a lot of the paper because it was too cute to pass up. And there's plenty of room with pockets and other photo mats that if you wanted to leave the cute decorative paper, you could. You can just definitely go ahead and put a photo here and here. So it opens up again, nice area for photo. And then I created this little section of photo mats, and they just flip back and forth. And I did use some cardstock, some decorative paper on this piece, just because when it all folds up, you can kind of see it peeking. And I wanted to have that showing, so I just put a nice decorative piece of paper there. And then when you get to the inside, again, another cute little pocket with these adorable images. And then it all folds down, and then it flips, opens up, and a nice little pocket on the inside here for more photos. And then a cute little thing here, a little Santa with a little Christmas list. You can go ahead and do some journaling and stuff there. And then it all folds up. And then the little sheet to protect it. And I think I showed you this already, but the little stack pockets right here. And then it just folds all back down. And that's the back and the front. So I used almost the entire pack of the Carta paper on this. I literally have one sheet left, and I still do have the sticker sheet, which I thought would be cute to keep the sticker sheet aside. That way when you're actually adding photos and stuff, you can use the sticker sheet to go ahead and embellish some of your photos with the stickers. Alright, so anyway, following right up behind this video is going to be the tutorial. I have a full tutorial ready to roll, so go ahead and check that out, and I hope you enjoy that. If you have any questions, please feel free to message me. If you like what you see on this, I would love a thumbs up. I would love it if you would subscribe. And I just want to thank you guys so much for checking this out. Alright, so I will go ahead and let the tutorial roll, and I will also go ahead and add some timestamps and stuff down in the description box along with the measurements. And until next time, guys, happy crafting. Enjoy the tutorial. Okay, so let's get started. So to start with, you're going to need 3 pieces that are going to be 7 by 9. And then you're going to need 1 piece 1.5 by 9 and 1 piece 1 1/4 by 9. And this is how you're going to lay them out. It's going to be 7 by 9, 1.5 by 9, 7 by 9, 1 1/4 by 9, and 7 by 9. Alright, and then you're going to need a couple pieces of some Tyvek to attach everything. So what I usually do when I am doing my Tyvek is I take the piece that I am going to be adding it to. This is 1.5 inches wide, and I like to have 1.5 inches on each side of it. So I'm going to add 3 inches to my measurement. So then, therefore, that this will be 4.5 by 9 on the Tyvek. Alright, so let's go ahead and attach. This way. And then I'm going to use 1/4 inch spacer tape. And I'm going to apply my spacer tape to both sides of my spine. And then I've already added my tape to the back, so now I'm going to lay this one here, just like that. And I'm going to butt it right up against the 1/4 inch spacer tape. And go ahead and add this piece. And you know what I didn't do was I didn't add it to the edge of the side. So let me do that real quick. I forgot on the other piece, but no big deal. Just go in and add it now. And it doesn't really matter too much because it does get covered. So, and just stick that side down. Okay, now back to where we started. So now I'm going to go ahead and remove this tape. And then this side. On the middle piece, I did add score tape to both sides. And then now we are going to go ahead and add the other spine piece. And this is the 1 1/4 by 9. Add it to the center. And then my spacer tape to both sides of my spine. Okay, and then I'm just going to add tape, this time to both sides. And now I'm going to go ahead and attach this side. And then go ahead and do this side. Okay. There we go. So when the book closes, it's going to close right up just like that. Alright, I am going to go ahead now. I'm going to apply score tape to the entire back of my cover. And I will be back in a minute and we'll continue. Alright, so for this now, I have got 3 sheets of 12 by 12 paper. And I already attached one side, and I'll just attach the second side with you. So I used 3/4 inch, 3/8 inch tape for that. And now I'm just going to add my piece. Just like that. And I've already added all my score tape to the back of that piece. And real quick now, what I want to do is, let's make sure. Alright, so now what I want to do is make 1 inch up from the bottom. And that's going to be my guideline. So I'm going to take a pencil. I'm going to go ahead and mark that out. And I'm doing the 1 inch at the bottom because that's where I want to have the part that I'm going to wrap it. Okay. And I'm going to take my book, and what I want to do is where the seams are, where the paper come together, I want to be observant as to where those are going to fall in place. So I think that'll be good. It's right, just the outside is just like about here and here. So I think I'll be good. I'm just going to eyeball it to center it. And that looks good. So now I'm going to make some guidelines. Just like that. And now I'm going to go ahead and remove all of my score tape. And I do like full tape coverage on the back, so there is no lifting of my cover. And now when I set it down, I'm going to start by the corner. And then I'm just going to kind of eyeball it, walking it down my 1 inch line. There we go. And it should line up pretty good. Alright, so now what I like to do is I want to get rid of all the excess cardstock that I don't need. So I'm going to go ahead and chop that off. And I'm leaving 1 inch all the way around. And if you have a nice sharp blade, you should be able to get that in one swipe. And I know my blade is kind of sharp. I don't think it's probably as sharp as it should be, but gets the job done. And then the same thing with the top. Almost done. Cool. Alrighty. So now that that's done, I'm going to go ahead and add tape all the way around the perimeter. And I can't wait to get this done. I know you guys will already know what I'm making, but at the moment, I don't know what I'm making. I have some ideas lined out for this, but you guys will already know. So to me right now, it's a surprise. For you guys, it will not be a surprise. Alrighty. So now what I want to do is I'm going to go ahead. I'm using the colorwaysart.com corner miter tool, and I did go ahead myself and I attached a 6-inch metal ruler because I needed more width on it than what it had. So I'm going to take off my corners. And then we can begin wrapping. And what I want to do before I start wrapping though is I want to remove my spacer tape. Okay. And I have a neat little thing that we're going to do on those center spine pieces. Hopefully it works out what's in my head. So now I just go ahead and start getting everything creased down. And in case you're wondering, I am using Recollections paper from Michaels. I am going to be using the 12 by 12 as well as the 8.5 by 11. And I seem to froze for a second. In case it didn't get in there, I'm using the Recollections paper by Michaels, the 12 by 12 and the 8.5 by 11. And I seem to have pretty good luck with that paper. It doesn't seem to really crack on me very much. It's kind of a softer paper, and it is 65-pound weight. And go ahead and get all that down. Hopefully my video didn't freeze too long. And now for the corners, I'm just going to go ahead and press those corners in. And then I just slowly walk it over. And keep pressing it down. And then where my cardstock overlaps, I like to give it a good smush there just to get it to go flatter. And now I'm just going to start working all these pieces. Guess I gotta watch my video because there we go. Alright, so then you just, that's all I do, and then what I do is I'll just go ahead and squeeze down So what I'm doing is I'm just, as it's on the disc, I just work my way down to kind of get it to form. And I do it on the desk, that way I've got something I'm pressing it down on. Alright, anyway, there we go. That is the cover, and when I come back we will start working on the pages. Alright, so real quick before we get started on the pages, one thing you got to do first is you need to cut 2 pieces that are 8x4 of cardstock and apply tape to the back side, and these are going to cover over these pieces right here. And that is because the rest of it you don't have to worry about so much, but those particular sides you want to make sure is covered. And then you're just going to go ahead and burnish it in. And I like to burnish in between, in my spacer area, and then I just go ahead and put the rest down. And then this side, and just eyeball it, center it to the space. And alright, and then just go ahead and work those in to get the book to go ahead and fold nicely. And I'm going to do that off camera, and I'll be back in a moment. Alright, so right now we are going to get started on this part here. So this will be page 1, and that's going to open up to that spot right there. So what you need to get started on that one is you are going to need, first of all, an acetate piece, 6 1/4 by 6 1/4. I applied score tape all around the perimeter on that. You're going to need one piece, 6 1/2 by 4 1/2, and you're going to score on the 4 1/2 inch side at 1/2 inch and apply tape, and let me get that on there. Okay, and then the second piece you're going to need, this is going to be an accordion pocket. So the second piece, you're going to need a piece that is going to be 9 1/2 wide, 7 inches tall. And on this piece here, you are going to score at 1/2 inch, 1 inch, 1 1/2 inches, 8 inches, 8 1/2 inches, and 9 inches. Okay. And then you're going to rotate it, and on the 7 inch side you're going to score at 1/2 inch. Then what you want to do is we need to make a little window. I've already drawn my lines on, you can see right there, and I'll show you how I did that. So I want a 1/2 inch border for my pocket. So what I did was I'm going to come over 2 inches from the edge, and I drew my line. And then from the bottom with just the 1/2 inch score line, you're going to come up 1 inch, 2 inches again from this side over, and then just 1/2 inch from the top. Alright, so now we're going to just go ahead and cut that out. So I'm just lining back up my ruler as to where I would have originally drawn my lines. So I'm at the 2 inch mark here, so I'm over 2 inches. And then on the top part, I'm only over 1/2 inch. And I'm just going to keep rotating my paper. So again, on this side now, I am 2 inches over. And then from the bottom with the single score line, I'm coming up 1 inch. Alright, so real quick, what I did do was, I forgot to say, is on the spot, on the top part where my score lines are, I'm on the dented side and I'm applying score tape to the bottom and to both sides. Alright, you don't have to do this little bottom section here because we're going to cut that off. Alright, so, and then I flipped it over and that's when I drew my lines. Alright, so now I'm going to go ahead and take this out. Now I'm still on the back side and I'm going to go ahead and add my acetate sheet just like so. I'm going to center it up. And just making sure I'm eyeballing it so it's even all the way around. And then I'm just going to go ahead and burnish it down. I don't want my pocket to fall off, or my window to fall off, I should say. So now what I'm going to do is, now where you have the score lines here, you have them coming down. You're going to literally cut off the 3 little squares. So let me just show you. So you're cutting right across that bottom score line. So that's what I did. I just cut out those 3. I'm going to do it to the other side. Just like that. And now what I want to do is I want to start folding. So from my first score line, I'm going to fold towards my window, and I'm going to fold back, and then I'm going to fold back again. And now you should see the tape. All right, and then again on the other side, the first score line closest to your window, and then back, and then forward. And you should see the tape. And then my bottom one, I'm just going to fold that one up. So now what I want to do right now, I'll undo the bottom one. I just want to burnish it all down. Just like that. And now the bottom piece too. Let me just get that good and burnished. Okay. So now what I want to do on this piece here is I'm going to remove the tape off a little bit of the corner, and I'm just going to press that piece down. So I'm sticking it right there. All right, and I'm going to do the same thing to the other side. So basically, I'm unfolding my flaps on the sides, and now I'm just going to go ahead and push it down. So now it's ready to go. And then my envelope top. So now I'm going to come over here and I'm going to go ahead and attach it. So the bottom is going to go to the bottom. And I'm just going to kind of eyeball. And then just like everything else, make sure I'm good. So I'm going to just kind of lift it a little bit and take off my score tape. I don't think I'm quite even. Didn't work that time. Alright, let's try it again. I'm going to eyeball it from this side. There we go. And now I can go ahead and remove this piece. And this piece. And now I'm just going to make sure I am nice and even. Walk my hand across the bottom and then make sure I'm even and go straight up the top. There we go. And then my the top of my envelope. So I'm going to bring it up close up to here. All this is going to get covered with paper, so I'm not worried about not covering that part. So what I want to do is I want to make sure my cover or my flat envelope flap is lined up to the sides over here and over here. So I'm just going to make sure that those are lined up, and I actually got to turn it because I need to see how much space I have up here. So make sure I'm even. And I'm going to leave about a 1/4 inch from the top to where I'm putting my envelope piece. And that looks good, so I'm going to untuck it. And there we go for that one. So I have a nice expandable little pocket right here. And then it's also the fact that it's on the inside cover, which is going to rest against this. And it'll give you, it's not going to be too thick to bulk up this part here. Alrighty, so that's how that is. And I'll be back and we'll move on. Okay, let's continue on. We're going to start off with page 2, which is going to be our center page. Alright, so for that page, you are going to need 11 pieces at 6 1/4 by 4 3/4, and you're going to go ahead and apply score tape on. You're going to, actually let me back that up. You're going to cut at 4 3/4 by 6 1/4, and you're going to score on the 4 3/4 side at a 1/2 inch. And these are going to be little photo flaps. So go ahead and apply your score tape. You're going to need 2 pieces that are going to be 5 1/2 by 2 1/2. You're going to score on each end at a 1/2 inch and a 1/2 inch on the bottom. And you're going to do that. These are going to be a stacked pocket. So one of the pieces you do not need to add score tape to the bottom. So on the 5 1/2 inch piece, let me just give you measurements. You are going to score at a 1/2 inch and 5 inches. Rotate it to the 2 1/2 inch side and score on the 1/2 inch mark. Then you're going to need one piece that is going to be 1 1/2 inches by 4, and you're going to score on the 4 inch side at a 1/2 inch, at 1 inch. I'm sorry, score at 1 inch and apply tape to the edge. And let me just fix my note. All right, and now we can go ahead and assemble this one. So this one's a fun one. This is going to be a waterfall, but we're going to do this one a little differently. So you're going to need 2, 3, 4, 5 pieces for this part here. So you're going to need 5 of those. And you're going to be laying these down going this direction. So let's start with the first one, and I need to rotate my book just so I can get it centered. And you're going to want to go again, starting with the first piece, and you're going to be probably about, I'd say, a 1/4 inch from the top. And then just make sure you eyeball the sides. And those are probably going to be about 3/4 of an inch. Let me see. No, actually about a 1/2 inch or so, it looks like. Just under. So just eyeball that to the center. And once you're pretty squared off that you like, you can go ahead and attach it. And thinking I'm liking that. Let me just make sure. Just want to make sure like at least one side is even, because if not, you're going to go crooked. Yeah, so that looks good to me. So I'm going to go ahead and lift up my flap and put that first piece down. And I'm just going to eyeball it again, make sure I'm good and I like what I see. So now's the time, if you didn't like what you had, to go ahead and take that off and start over basically. So now I'm just going to go ahead and create my waterfall, and I'm going to go ahead and line up my next piece, and I want to make sure it is going to go straight, so I always take the top piece and go down. I make sure it's all going to line up, holding it there, and then making sure my top, whoops, I slipped. So put that one up. I just got to move it a little closer to me so I can see, and looks good to me. So now I'm going to go ahead and stick that piece down. And then just making sure as I go, and get these pieces out of the way. And then my next piece, again doing the same. And look good. Bring down one of my pieces, square it off nice. And touch that one down. Make sure again, every time, I just want to make sure I'm folding good. And as long as you've cut everything off nice and square and your score lines are nice and even, it should all line up. Okay. Looks good. Okay. So that's 4. What do I have? 1, 2, 3, 4. Oops. Okay. And my 5th one. Again, making sure we're lined up good. Looks good again. Cool. Nice and straight there. So now you've got 5 pieces of your photo mats going this way. Now the only thing with waterfalls is when you do a waterfall, you're stuck to having your pictures go in a certain direction. So what I decided to do was, now I have that waterfall, I am going to go ahead and add waterfall sideways. So this one here, I'm going to come all the way over, and again, I'm going to line it up, and I'm going to kind of center it to this bottom panel here, the back of the chipboard. So I kind of want to line it up. So what I want to do is make about a 1/4 inch from the edge here and a 1/4 inch from the bottom. And that way I'll have it nice and squared off. So go ahead and attach the first one. And now what I'm going to do is, now we're going to alternate. So now I want to go ahead and do the next side. And this one here, I'm going to make sure that this photo mat lines up square with the edge, the cut edge of this piece and the top and the bottom, as well as making sure that I am about a 1/4 inch over on the side here. I'm going to line it all up. Looks good. There we go. We have that. All right, so now we are going to continue on. And now the way we did the top part here, I'm going to continue down, going this way. Making sure I am all lined up. Looks good. Now the only thing I don't know yet is when I go to decorate, if I'm going to run into an issue up here. I think I might, but if I have to, I'll take them off, and then I'll just let you know. Just to be safe, you may want to just cover this panel in the back here with black cardstock, because right now I might have my chipboard showing. So now I'm going to go ahead and line this side up. What I want to do, probably before I go too far, I'm just going to take a Sharpie. I'm just going to color just in case. Alright. Hopefully it's not going to mess anything up. Okay. And we're going to have 3 panels, three photo mats flipping. So put another one on. This is the last one for this side. Looks good. Just like that. And then the last one for this side. Looks good there. Yeah, that looks good. So then they would just alternate flipping. This, and then the top comes down like that. And I know it's kind of hard to see on the black. So now, one more element, what we need to do is we need to go ahead and the little 1 by 4 inch strip. This one here, you're going to put all the way to the bottom. So you're going to fold it over, and this part here you're going to attach here. This is going to be part of our closure, and you want to bring it all the way to the bottom right there. So kind of center it to the space. Looks good. I'm going to hold it, unflip it. And I'm going to do a little string closure to keep it all together. And then now you have our little stack pocket pieces. So now we're going to go ahead and attach those. So just want to miter the corners. And this will be a spot for kind of like a cute little hidden spot for some photo mats or some tags, whatever you want to put in there. And then this piece here that you have no score tape on the bottom, you're just going to fold the sides. You're not going to fold the bottom. The score line is just there as a guide for when you do your stack pockets. Alright, so these two here, so the one with tape on all 3 sides, you're now going to go ahead and put it in the bottom here, lining it up from each side of the bottom of your photo mats, and lining and centering it to the space. So you have not quite a 1/4 inch, I'd say, on each side. Go ahead and put that piece down. And then now you're going to take your second piece and you're going to go ahead and you're just going to stick it in there. Make sure you test it out first to make sure it's going to fit. and it looks good to me. And so you got 2 stack pockets right there and there, and then you got your photo mats that all close up. And then these ones all come down, and then you will have a little button closure right here holding it all together so nothing will flip-flop everywhere. Alrighty, and now we will move on to this page. Alright, I will be back in a minute. Whoops. Yeah. Till it gets the closures on it, it's got to be careful. Alright, I'll be back in a second. Okay, so let's get started on page 3, and I would just suggest that you do watch the assembly of this page first before you try to do it. Just watch what I do. It's pretty easy. There's quite a few steps to it, but just watch what I do, and I'm hoping that you will find this as easy as I think it will be. Alright, so we're going to start off with piece A, and your piece A is going to be 6 3/4 by 8 1/4, and you're going to score on the 6 3/4 side at 1/2 inch, and you're going to go ahead, apply your tape, and then fold it over. Make sure you burnish that one down really well. Okay, and then this piece here is we are going to go ahead and we're going to attach this right here. Again, we're going to be leaving 1/4 inch on from the edge, and we're going to line it up to the space. Looks good to me. I'm going to untuck my flap, and I'm going to stick it down. Alright, so now we've got piece B. And piece B is 6 1/4 by 7 1/2. You're going to score 2 times on this one now. You're going to score at on the 6 1/4 inch side, you're going to score at 1/2 inch and then 3/4 of an inch. So you're basically going to create a little gusset. And that's just going to allow this section here to expand and give you a little more playroom so it won't be so tight. So piece B, you're going to fold on the first score line closest to the big part, and then you're going to fold again on the 1/2 inch score line. So basically you're creating kind of like a little gusset there. Alright, so just go ahead and burnish those 2 down. And then this piece we're going to go ahead and attach to the top. So you can go ahead and pretend like you don't have that little score line, the little 1/4 inch one. Just fold it so you just got this piece, and you can just pretend it's not there at the moment. And you're going to go ahead again and center it to the space. Line it up. And remove your tape. Okay, and now C piece. This piece here is 7 1/4 by 3 1/2. You're going to make a pocket, so you're going to score on the 7 1/4 inch side at 1/2 inch and 6 3/4. You're going to rotate it and score on the 3 1/2 inch side at 1/2 inch. And for this one, you're going to go ahead and miter your corners. And then go ahead and fold and burnish. Okay, and this piece now, the flap that you just stuck on top, you're going to open it up, and this piece here is actually going to go on the inside. Just like that. And just be careful how close to this edge you are, because otherwise you might get a little tight, but we do have that 1/4 inch gusset there now, so that will allow you a little expanding room. So go ahead, line it up. stick it down. Nice and even, and there we go. There's that one. All right, so now we are going to move on to piece D. So for piece D, you need a couple of pieces to start with. So piece D is going to be 7.5 by 5.5. We're making a pocket, so you're going to score on the 7.5 inch side at 1/2 inch, and at 7 inches, rotate it, and you're going to score on the 5.5 inch side at 1/2 inch. And then to this piece, you're going to apply the tape, and then we're going to flip it over. And you're going to go ahead and we're going to make a 1/2 inch window pocket all the way around. So to do that, you're going to now come over. Oops. I hear my creepy little doll back there screaming. And let's see. So you're going to take a pencil, and I've already done my lines. So what you're going to do is you're going to come over 1 inch from the cut edge here that has the 1/2 inch score line. You're going to come over 1 inch both on all 3 sides, so the 2 sides and the bottom, and then just a 1/2 inch down from the top. And you're going to go ahead and now cut that out. So let me go ahead. So this is piece D, by the way. And this one's going to be a fun little pocket. Okay, and that's cut out. And now I'm going to go ahead and add my acetate to the back of that. So my acetate piece is 6 1/4 by 4 1/2. And I put 1/4 inch score tape on 3 of the sides, and I found that I was just a tad short. So I did an 1/8 inch score tape on the bottom. So the piece that I put the 8 inch on the bottom, I'm going to put it to the bottom of the pocket because it's going to be less wear down there. And stick it down and then burnish it down really well. Okay, and then on this piece we're going to go ahead and miter our corners. Okay, go ahead and fold them and burnish them down well. Okay, and then you're going to need your E piece now. So the E piece is 7 by 5, and on the 7 inch side you're going to score it 1/2 inch, and go ahead and fold that over and burnish it. So now what you want to do is you're going to attach these two together. So if you want to make it so you don't overlap, just take this piece and fold it over, because this piece here is going to go on top like this. Alright, so make sure you line everything up. So it's all squared off nice and even. Stick it on. That's nice and stuck, and now you have your little flap here. So now this piece, you're going to come over, and again, you're going to go ahead and center it to this top piece now, okay? So you can fold it over. That piece is going to be, so now this is the piece with the gussets, so just be careful when you press it down. So going to, hold on. So I want it not quite centered. I want to be a little closer to the top of this piece than the bottom. So go ahead, and if you want a measurement, about one, just over 1 inch, so about 1 1/8. I'm going to go ahead and stick that down. Okay, we have that. So now we have this nice little window pocket here, and a flap, a pocket here, another flap. All right, now we're going to move on to piece F. All right, so now piece F is, this is going to be a flap with a pocket, and we're covering over the top of our pocket here. So piece F is going to be 6.5 by 5.5, and you're going to score on the 6.5 inch at a 1/2 inch here. And we can go ahead and fold that one's going to go, you're going to fold this one so you don't see the tape, because this is going to get attached to the back. And then you need piece G for this one. And piece G is 6.5 by 3, and this is going to be a pocket. So on the 6.5 inch side, you're going to score at a 1/2 inch, and at 6 inches, you're going to rotate. On the 3 inch side, you're going to score at a 1/2 inch, and you're going to go ahead and miter your corners. And you're going to go ahead and burnish them all down well. And this has got the flap at the top right here. So you're going to put the pocket on the bottom. You're going to go line it perfectly side to side and right on the bottom. And we're almost done. Now this piece here, we're going to take our pocket, and this is going to go over the pocket here, and you're going to line it up so you don't see the acetate window underneath it. So go ahead and line it up. Make sure you center it to the area. Trying to make sure it doesn't move. Looks good to me there. Let's see how we did. Perfect. All right, so now this flap here with the pocket is actually the cover to your envelope, so it'll keep everything nice and tidy in there. Okay. And now the next piece, so we're going to open all this up except for the last page. So this is the first one you put down that has the pocket. So now you need piece H, and you're going to need 4 pieces that are 4 3/4 by 6 1/4, scoring on the 4 3/4 inch side at a 1/2 inch. These are going to be photo mats. So on these, so we're going to start. So you're going to take your first piece, you can see the tape. Actually, you don't want to see the tape, so you're going to take it and fold it in like that. And then these pieces, you're actually going to go ahead and do the same. So now the piece that you have unfolded, so you can see the tape, you're going to take this piece here, you're going to put it on top, and I should burnish it first, hold on. Okay, try it over. Piece you can see, not folded. You can see the tape. This piece that unfolded, you're going to flip it over. You're going to stick it on this piece, and you're going to go ahead and wrap this piece around the back side. So make sure it's all lined up. Stick it down. So now it goes like this. Now this piece, again, fold it so you don't see the tape. So you're going to take this and you're going to stick it to this flap here, this one on the top, and you don't want to see the tape. So now you're going to go ahead and you're going to tuck this piece into here. So there's your tape. Make sure it's lined up, nice and tidy. Go ahead, remove your tape. So basically it's just going to be like an accordion pocket. And then your last piece, same thing again. Fold so you don't see the tape. Take your piece. So this is what we got going so far. This one here, you're going to stick this piece inside and you're going to wrap your flap around. Again, lining it all up. Make sure it's in nice and tight. Remove the tape. Stick it down. Alright, so basically now it's just an accordion. Just like that. So now what you want to do to this piece here, now this is the first piece, this is piece A that has the pocket on the front. You're going to take your tape and the same thing now, you're going to put the tape to the back side. So I like to take it and get it in there. You can put it any way you want, in the center, off center, whatever way you like. Go ahead and get it tucked in nice and tight. And then go ahead and stick that piece down. So then what you have is it just flips out, just like that. And then folds over, and then everything here is all contained within itself. And I have another little element we're going to be adding to this in a moment. Alright, I will be back in a second. Okay, for your next piece, I'm actually going to design this kind of with you because I'm not really quite sure how I'm making this. So I'm just going to kind of, you're going to see how I kind of work my way through this one. So this is going to be a window flap. Now, you know, when you add embellishments and stuff, in my last album I had seen in another crafting group, they had made these acetate pockets, not pockets, I'm sorry, an acetate window that just kind of like hung out there, and that way your pages wouldn't like mix in with each other and you wouldn't get messing. You wouldn't get the corners and stuff folded in. So what I thought was if I actually created a window pocket that was attached, and you could just open it up, so this way all the elements on this page here don't get caught up on this page here. So let's go ahead and try this and see what happens. So you're going to need a piece that is a 7 1/4 by 8 1/2, and you're going to score on the 7 1/4 inch side at 1/2 inch and 3/4 of an inch. So basically, again, we're going to create a little gusset. And then that way that will just help with any thickness that you're going to get on this page here. And I want to create a window, so I did 3/4 of an inch all the way around. So I went ahead and marked that out. So just to show you, I took and went in from the 3 cut edges here, the 3 cut edges, I went in 3/4 of an inch, drew my line. And then on the side over here where I have my score lines, I went in 1.5 inches. Yeah, 1.5 inches in, and I drew my window box. Now, because this is going to be a window, and you're going to see it from both sides, you need to have a front and a back. So what I did was I cut a second piece that is 6 1/4 by 8 1/2. And this, we're going to kind of semi-attach it because I want to make sure that I don't want to have to try to cut 2 pieces and then have my windows try to make sure they line up, and they don't. So I wanted to try doing it this way to see if this would work. So I kind of pre-prepped this piece. So I put score tape on the top and the bottom. This is 3/8, and I just put 1/8 inch along the side here, and this is the piece that we're going to remove. But first what I want to do is, I already drew my line here, so what I want to do is make sure that this, I'm going to attach this piece to the back of this piece. So I want to make sure that everything is going to be nice and squared up. And it's not going to quite come all the way over to the back here because that's not going to matter too much because you are going to cover this with pattern paper. The main point is just to make sure when you have the window that you're not going to see the black cardstock from either side. So what I want to do is I want to make sure that it is lined up as square as possible. I'm going to hold that down. Now I'm just going to remove the 1/8 inch tape. Okay, and I want to make sure nothing is overhanging from the top or the bottom. So basically now it is open to access it when you do your acetate. All right, and I went ahead and pre-prepped the score tape on the sides here because it's going to be harder to put it on after it's all cut out. So I just went ahead and did that. So now what I want to do is I'm going to go ahead now and cut out my window pocket. And then my 3/4 inch line. And I'm going to cut all the way around. And this way you don't have to worry about lining everything up, because unless it's a machine doing it, you know it's not going to be perfect for both the front and the back piece. So this way you kind of think you might be okay. All right, so let's see. So I'm going to go ahead and get these pieces out. Just be careful too when you do draw on your pencil line how hard you go with your pencil, because you actually need to erase those. And you want to erase them before you put your acetate in. And I don't want to, I'm just making sure everything's going to cut nice. I don't really want to pull it because then you end up with like little burrs and stuff from your paper. And it just doesn't look pretty. Okay, so there we go. So I have this. So now I have my little piece here. And now what I'm going to do is try to slide in my acetate. So my acetate piece, just so you know, is cut at 5 3/4 by 8. And first of all, like I said, you need to erase those lines. So I'm going to get rid of those lines on there. Okay, so let me just double check. And looks good, and it looks like I can also get away with 1/4 inch score tape. And let me just see. Now I think I'm only going to put the score tape on 3 sides because it's going to be hard to slide this piece down inside there. So I'm actually, let's see, will I be able to? And I think it's going to be too tight. So I'm going to go ahead and apply 1/4 inch score tape. Now I want to actually apply the score tape to both sides. So I'm not going to come quite all the way to the edge here because of tucking it in. So I am going to probably go, not quite an 1/8, but I mean not quite a 1/4, but not an 1/8 either. So I'm going to add it to these sides here. And this is basically just to keep the two pages from rubbing up against each other. So on both sides, I didn't go all the way to the edge. And I'm going to flip it over and I want to do the other side. And that's just because you have the front and the back of your page, and you want to make sure that the acetate is sticking to both pieces of cardstock. I hope this makes sense. You might, once you see it together, you'll get it. Alright, so what I want to do is, I want to stick it down to the piece that doesn't have the tape. So this is the piece with the tape. I want to stick it down first of all to the piece that doesn't have it. So I'm going to go ahead and line it up. Yeah, that's going to look good. Alright, so what I want to do, let's see, I want to make sure it's in there nice, and I'm going to go ahead, and you know how like I always remove the tape from my paper? So I'm removing the score tape from the back side of this. I'll show you in a minute. So if I can get the one side down. So now it's in place and I know where I want it to go. So now I'm going to go ahead and remove the tape from the other two sides. So the only tape I'm removing is what's going to stick down here. So as you can see now, my score tape is still on the top of this acetate piece, and I still have my tape on this piece. So now what I want to do is, now I'm going to go ahead and stick everything. So I want to remove the tape off the acetate. And I got my hand underneath it so they don't stick down too soon. And then I'm going to go ahead and remove the tape from here. And because everything's kind of semi-stuck, it should just line up. So I'm just going to slowly walk it. Oops. And it bunched up down there. So I'm going to undo, because I have a wrinkle. You can see the wrinkle right there. So you just have to be careful with the undo on the acetate, because it can discolor it if you get too much on it. And it was working out so perfect. There we go. Good as new. Nice. Yeah, I think that worked out pretty good. So now, doesn't matter. So now I'm going to take my window pocket. Make sure it's all burnished down good real quick. Okay, looks good to me. And it looks like I got a little, you can't even see it. So now what I want to do is I'm going to, the short side, the short piece is on the bottom. So I'm going to flip it over and I'm going to apply tape to the 1/2 inch score line. Going as close to the cut edge as possible because I do want to make sure I have plenty of space. So now on this piece here, you can open up everything here. And now this piece here, so you have the 1/2 inch gusset, you just want to fold on the the 1/4 inch gusset, you just want to fold the 1/2 inch over first. So what I want to do is just kind of eyeball it. I got to turn it. So this piece here, let's see. Okay. So this piece here is almost as wide as your book, and the only difference is probably, yeah, the only difference is a 1/4 inch. So what I want to do is I'm going to center it. So I'm going to be pretty close to the edge, I think. Really close to the edge, like an 1/8 inch away, and then centered top to bottom. So that looks good. Okay, and let's see how we do. So you're going to open this up, and then all this is going to come over, and then this is going to tuck right over. So then when everything is closed up, nothing here should be catching on any of these pockets here. Looks good. Alright, the only thing I want to do is I want to add a little pocket in here, so let me go ahead, get those measurements, and I will show you how to do that one. That should be super simple. Okay, so now we're going to attach a little pocket right here. So what I came up with a measurement is 7.5 by 4, and on the 7.5 inch side you're going to score at a 1/2 inch, and the 7 inch mark, rotate and score on the 4 inch at a 1/2 inch. You're going to go ahead and miter your corners. And then you're going to go ahead and fold and burnish really well. Okay, and then you're going to go ahead and attach this. So this pocket here, now you want it to line up to this page here, the bottom of this one. This window pocket here is longer than what this section is, so you can't line it up to this, but I want you to line it up to the bottom of this page. So, and then of course centered to the space. Go ahead and stick it down. Yeah, so then all that just folds up, and it's going to be really neat and pretty. There's a lot of little elements that you can't see right now because it's all black, but once you put pattern paper on, it should look kind of cool with the different layers and elements and sizes and stuff. So just to recap, pocket here, and then you have a full pocket right here, and then opens up like this. So you got room. You can always add little corner pockets. It could be just a photo mat. Again, a nice full page right here for a photo, and over here as well. You got this nice little section here to pull out some photos. Another pocket, and then it opens up another full section here. Again, you could always add some other elements on this page here. Whether you want to do some corner pockets, perhaps a belly band, and then you have a pocket right here. I would just be careful on how much you do add extra elements to this, because it will get a lot thicker, and then you would have to actually change your gussets and stuff accordingly, just so that it all will fit together. Alright, and then this section here, and just like this. Alrighty, and the only thing left now is for this part right here. Not quite sure what I want to do here just yet. I'll figure that out, and I'll be back in a moment. Okay, so for this page here, I decided that I was just going to do a stacked pocket. I didn't want to chunk it up too much because I do have a habit of overstuffing my pages before I even add any pattern paper or photos, so I didn't want to chunk it up too much. So to start with, you're going to need a piece 9 3/4 by 3, and you're going to score on each end at a 1/2 inch on the 9 3/4 inch side and 9 1/4. You're going to rotate and score at 1/2 inch. And then you need a second piece, also 9 3/4 by 2 1/2, scoring on the 1/2 inch side. On the 9 3/4 inch side, you're going to score at 1/2 inch, and 9 1/4, rotate and score at 1/2 inch on the 2 inch side. To this piece, you're only going to add tape to the 2 sides, and this is your bottom pocket, so we're going to go ahead and miter our corners. And we're going to go ahead and do the same thing to this piece. So to this piece here, we're only folding our sides. We're not going to touch the bottom. The bottom is strictly a guide. Okay, and go ahead and varnish. So now I decided I'm going to go ahead and put the closed part of my envelope on this edge here. So I'm going to go ahead and line it up. So let's see, I'm going to go, probably going to leave about 1/8 of an inch all the way around. Tape. And then my next piece, go ahead and set it in there just to be sure. Give it a test run, looks good. And go ahead and attach this piece in. There we go, all lined up. Alright, and now the fun part, just decorating. Alright, I'll be back in a few. Alright, so that wraps up the tutorial for this little Santa's Workshop folio I created. I hope you really enjoyed this. If you have any questions or anything, feel free to leave them down below. If you should happen to make this, please go ahead and tag me. I am on all social media as Patty's Crafty Spot. And I can't thank you enough. Anyway, till next time, guys, happy crafting. Bye.